Hello everybody, today I am in my office trying to figure out how to use a hiking backpack with my camera gear, because hiking backpacks are made to carry a certain amount of load and they are super comfortable to carry around, which is not true with camera backpacks. The other reason is that I recently purchased a 400mm 2.8 TC Nikon, and that's a pretty big lens. So I was looking for a new camera bag, and doing the search I realized that there wasn't really a camera bag that would fit my needs. And so I started looking around for a camera bag that is a little bit more designed to load a certain amount of gear and weight, but comfortably. And the only couple of options that I found were not really nearly as comfortable as a proper hiking backpack. And so I went into the rabbit hole of searching what to do to adapt hiking backpacks for camera hauling, camera transporting. The hiking backpacks are empty inside because they are made to stuff your tent, your sleeping bag, sleeping mats, and all the things that you usually carry around on a long hike that is maybe a multi-day hike. Camera bags, on the other side, obviously have padded dividers inside, a lot of compartments. They're all nice and neatly organized, which is the pro of a camera backpack, but not as comfortable as a hiking backpack. So what do is that we can buy an internal divider that has a padded structure so that we can put the camera gear in there and then shove that into the hiking backpack. Now, when I started researching for this, I thought that for sure there would be the perfect combination of both, but to my surprise, I actually figured out that it's not that simple. Now, these internal compartments, let's call them, every manufacturer calls them in a different way. Somebody called them ICU, internal camera units, somebody calls them core units, somebody calls cubes. However you want to call it, essentially is a box that goes into the hiking backpack with a bunch of dividers to hold the gear in place. That's all it is. And I was mind blown to see that some brands cost upwards of $300–400 for just a insert that you put into the backpack. And I honestly think that they are overly pricing this gear because it's not really anything complex or complicated that requires such a difficult design. These things have been around for forever. So there is no innovation, design, or new technology that goes into these cameras, compartments, units. It's just a box with a bunch of padded dividers. I have ordered a bunch of hiking backpacks, different kind of prices as well, and I'm gonna show you the best hiking backpacks that I found. I have noticed that in the community, in the photography community, especially for those of us that do wildlife and nature and have to carry around big, long telephoto lenses, there is a lot of questions in regards to using a hiking backpack for nature photography. And so I decided to figure out the best options at different budgets and make this video for everybody so that they can make their own mind. There was one bag in particular that I was debating to buy, which is the Lowepro BP 650 AW2, the latest version of the famous Pro Trekkers that Lowepro had 20 years ago, of which I have one right here that I will show later in the video, that have been used for many years to carry my gear around, but that is now a little bit too small and not comfortable enough to carry the amount of gear that I want to carry with me. The second option that I had read about is the Shimoda Action X70 HT. Now that bag seems a great bag as much as the Lowepro bag is, but it's also, if possible, even more expensive than the Lowepro bag. Here in Canada, you're talking about over $950 Canadian to buy that bag, and the Lowepro was $750. Now the Shimoda bag has the inserts inside that you can change, but after all, you're gonna be over $1,000 for a photography backpack that is essentially a backpack with an insert inside. Now they look cool, they might be more comfortable than the average camera bag, but spending over $1,000 for a camera bag, I don't think it should be the way to go. The Lowepro was 750 Canadian dollars, and also after tax probably close to $900, so it's still not cheap. A hiking backpack, on average, you can buy a very good one for $250, $300, and then you can add the padded inserts inside that have different prices and different kind, and that's why I'm doing this review right now, because there is a lot of options, but they don't all work. And even if you find some of these inserts in very expensive bags, I do not think they are good enough. First of all, forgive the setup today that is very messy. This video is gonna be very raw in terms of look because there is a mess everywhere. These are the backpacks that I bought so far to check if I could use them as a hybrid hiking and photography gear. And then here you can see two inserts that I bought. Now this one here is a Nanuk N-Cubik 17 liter, which is decently made. I'll show you in a second. It costs about $150. This is a Shimoda extra large DV insert that costs twice as much. So let me show you the inside one by one. The Nanuk N-Cubik is actually a pretty nice looking unit. It has good materials, is sturdy enough, not super sturdy, but good. Has two handles that you can use to drag the insert out of the bag or out of the case. As you can see there, I also have a Pelican case that I've had for many years. And in general, is very well done. And when you open, you have this situation here. So you do have these dividers that have a specific way of working. They are sort of like an accordion, so they can adjust angle. They're not your standard average dividers in there. But the thing that I don't understand is if you are placing this into a bag and you are transporting likely the bag vertically like this, right? These things are not really padded. These are, yeah, there is some padding, but they are quite hard. It almost seems to me that this is not thick enough. Okay, so I wasn't too happy with this, although the size here is fitting perfectly well my Pelican case and it fits decently well into the bags as well. This is also a little bit small, and so if I had to use this, I would have to add a second one smaller on the top, which you can, and in fact you can see them here. I do have all of this stuff here. So for example, I can have this other cubic, which is 17S is called, and I can put it on the top like that, and then I can have both of them in the bag, which I'll show you how I've done it later in the video. Then I can keep them like this, or I can put this one this way so that I can have top access. It opens like this, right? And you find the same thing. It's actually nice and deep, so it's a good option. I don't know if I would trust this into a bag that goes up and down all day long for a few hours a day. I am a little bit skeptical, but it's well built and I am not foreseeing anything to break. Even if it breaks something, it's relatively cheap. I also find it smart that they have loops on the side here so that you can tie the cube into your bag if you need to. Now let's go back to the Shimoda, because this is where the surprise came in. Now the Shimoda came in a box like this, no plastic, no packaging, nothing. I don't know if this is Amazon that messed it up or whatnot, but it came literally like this. And this stuff here that I have organized nicely was actually all over the place. The insert also has a mark here that you can see that I did not do. Also because I haven't used this at all. Now when I look at the Shimoda insert, I have the same problem. These things are very thin. You can see here. This is how thin they are. This is maybe 5 millimeters or something. So the padding is there, but this feels like a hard padding. I am not sure that I would trust my gear into these things, into a backpack. Same thing for the border, that is actually extremely hard. The Nanuk is the same way, but maybe a little bit softer than this. This Shimoda stuff is extremely hard. And I am not sure what's the idea behind this, but I want to show you what my 10 years old Pelican insert looks like. There you go. So this is my Pelican insert, is what goes into that bag right there, into that case. This is supposed to go into a hard case that is pretty much indestructible, okay? And you can see that this padding is a lot thicker compared to the Nanuk or the Shimoda even, okay? So this is a padding that I would trust, that I would put my long lens into the backpack with, because the lens will rest onto this nice thick padding. And even the dividers are quite nice and absorb well the impacts or the vibrations, which I'm not sure about these ones. Now, you can get these ones for cheap on Amazon as well, and there are different sizes. When I was actually researching for this, I realized that Nanuk makes also the padded dividers like this, because they also have hard cases. And so I've ordered 3 different sizes of their padding dividers to see how they hold up against the Pelican ones. But across these different inserts, I would 100% take the Pelican one. Now, the only advantage of the Shimoda dividers is the height, because this is the DV model, which is quite a bit higher. As you can see here, it's probably 2 inches higher than the actual Pelican dividers or the Nanuk dividers, which makes the gear a little bit more contained in there. But I honestly don't think that I would pick this hard padding to this, and I would rather have a shorter divider than a harder one. These things are also a little bit tricky to order, because when you look at the dividers, they tell you the dividers is for this case. They don't necessarily write the measurements. It's a little bit tricky to dig into the information. So I just ordered 3 different sizes, and I will check when they arrive. They are here in a couple of days. Which brings me to another point that is important. This Shimoda stuff took forever to arrive. It's not the next day delivery or even 3-day delivery. It took a week to arrive. The backpack would have been the same thing. The Nanuk stuff, next day delivery. The Pelican stuff, next day delivery. So if you are in a pinch and you need the divider or something happens and you are going on a trip or whatnot, that's important too to consider, because there is wear and tear and things happen all the time. And so I want to make sure that I can order parts quickly. I don't have to wait 2-3 weeks. The bigger insert of the Shimoda would have taken 2 weeks to ship from the UK, because they didn't have anything here in Canada. So I hope this information is useful, because really I was having headaches here to figure out what to get. And I can't believe that you have to pay $300 for a piece of cardboard like this, honestly. So you decide what you want to get. Now let's see the bags, because this is the interesting part here, where I've also found some interesting options. All right, here you can see 4 bags. There is 2 of Osprey's Aether Plus series, 170 liter, 185 liters. I'll get to why I have both in a second. And then I have 2 bags that are great from Decathlon Travel 900 Easy Fit, and then I have another one which is called MT 900 Symbian, which is 70 plus 10 liters. The other one is 70 liters. During the research for the backpacks, I spent a few hours in the stores trying different backpacks. And even when it comes to hiking backpacks, you can spend a lot of money. One of the options that I really liked was the Mystery Ranch Beartooth 80 liters. That one was a great backpack, but once again is $850 Canadian plus tax, plus the insert that you have to add in there. So it was absolutely out of budget. I do not want to spend that kind of money for just a shell, a backpack. Also, those backpacks, although they are great, they are well built, etc., are meant for loads that are well beyond what we carry with our camera gear. I tried a Gregory, I think 80-liter backpack, and it didn't fit well on my shoulder because I have pretty broad shoulder and big chest, so it did not work for my body type. The Ospreys worked great right away. We measured the sizing, obviously everything is done properly here, there is no approximation, everything was measured. And then I ordered the Decathlon ones. I looked on internet for all the possible options, and the best backpacks that I found were these ones. Now, the Osprey 75-liter Aether is $540 Canadian right now at the moment of this review. And it's not cheap by all means. But the Decathlon backpacks are in the $200 range. And if you read the reviews from Decathlon from the States or from Europe, they are pretty solid alternative. They might not have the same material quality or high-tech materials of the Osprey backpacks, but they are very, very solid choices. They will have a 10 years warranty anyway, so if something happens, you bring it back and they either give you a new one or they try to fix it. I'm not sure exactly because I don't have that experience, but they actually have more features, more interesting features for photographers at least, than the actual Osprey backpacks that are considered basically the top end of the hiking backpacks. Now, the 85 liters that I have here, I bought it from Amazon used, and it cost me $220. So even if I don't want to get an Osprey because I don't want to spend that kind of money, at that point, that was a pretty convenient deal. The only thing that was noted is that there was some problem inside, some little mark inside. To this day, after days of looking, I couldn't see it. So for me, this backpack looks like brand new and at less than half the price. So I just ordered in, and I wanted to try also the different size because I feel like 70 liter is a little bit tight. Now, when you read on the forums, people say, oh, if you cannot fit your stuff in a 70-liter bag, definitely you're doing something wrong, which is true if you're doing hiking, but the majority of the volume in your bag is gonna be taken by big and heavy gear, photography gear. So in that case, it's better to have a little bit more space than less, because you can actually add a couple of pieces of clothes, jacket, or maybe a raincoat for your camera, and all the other things that we photographers carry around. All right, the first one that I want to show you is the Osprey Aether Plus 70 liter, and it's right here. Now, if you want in-depth reviews for these backpacks, you can just go on YouTube and look for one, because there is millions of them. What I'm doing here is showing you why it can work for a photographer. It looks pretty slick, the materials are all super good. It doesn't have a rugged look to me. It has a high-tech, if you will, look, not necessarily a rugged look, not as if you were buying a hunting backpack or a military backpack, as a matter of fact. But it's surely really well built. Now, why did I pick this one? Well, the comfort, the fit, everything is superb. I have to say, this is my second Osprey. Well, if I keep it, that is. I had another Osprey before, was a 70 liter, and the padding that you have on your hip, around your hip, on your back, and the ventilation, the adjustability of the shoulder pads, Everything is very customizable and the fit can be perfect. So when you carry a lot of stuff and a heavy load, this is a dream. It really sits on you and you don't feel you have the weight almost. So for me, when I put this on, I figured that, you know, this could have been a great option. And I knew based on my previous experience. Now, why did I sold my old one? Well, because sometimes I do things that then I regret, but that's for a different story. Now, why is it good for photographers? Well, the most important thing for me here is that I can access the face of the backpack. When we talk about accessing the backpack, there are two options, front loading and back loading. Now, when you see bigger camera bags, they are mostly back loaded, so you can open the backpack from the back. That's very cool because that allows you to take the backpack off your shoulders, put the face of the backpack or the front of the backpack on the ground, whatever that is, and avoiding that the shoulder pads, the shoulder straps, and the hip pads are actually getting dirty. So you open your bag, you take your gear, you do the thing that you need to do, then you close it, put it back on. The face might get wet, might get dirty, depending on what kind of environment you're in, but at least you can put the backpack on again comfortably and clean. Good luck finding a backpack for hiking that has the back loading. There are very few and difficult to find, and believe it or not, the only one that I found here was the Decathlon one. So I'll show you afterwards. Most of the hiking backpack are front loaded or side loaded or top loaded only. In the case of a camera purposed hiking backpack, you need to have a big access because your gear is big, and so you need a spacious window, let's say, through which you can take your camera or your lenses. So this Osprey here was pretty good that way. So let me show you why. First of all, there is a lot of flapping things here, which I'm not a big fan of. There is pockets that are side pockets that you can open. I can show you later. There are other pockets everywhere, which is a great thing. I love to have multiple pockets. The problem is that this is, for me, a little bit busy. And when I want to be quick, I don't want to have to open too many things or get distracted with too many zippers. I don't know which one to open. I need to be efficient. If I have an animal that I see from far away, I have to be able to put the backpack on the ground quickly, open, get the lens, and be rolling, right? So everything here, like here, for example, right now I have a difficult time knowing which one I need to open. There is a lot of different ones. They're all the same. Now, I suppose with a bit of use you get used to it, but it is a little bit annoying nonetheless. Now, the top compartment here, it's a little hard to do with one end, but I'll try to do my best. Here, you open those two zippers, you undo these two, actually, that were already open, and then you can, if there is enough weight, it won't move, you can open the front, and then you can take your gear and stuff. Now, for demonstration purpose, I'm gonna put the Pelican divider in here. Now, you can see this is the 70 liter, so I do have a little bit of space on the top here, enough space in fact to put the small cube. The top closes, the camera stays in there, nothing really moves. You close this, you can see here that I have actually my rain cover in here that I was trying, right? And you can essentially fill up the backpack the way you want it to, right? So other pockets, there is a water proof cover here that covers the whole bag. Oh, because this is the other thing, these bags are not even fully waterproof. They're water resistant, but eventually they're gonna soak and start to have the gear wet. But then you can use the cover here and cover the whole bag. Then on the side there are more pockets. You can see here, it's even difficult for me to see which one it is. Now the zippers are YKK, they are super smooth and look really solid. So the quality is there, but it is obviously expensive. So you have to decide if you want to get that. So there is a pocket here, there is another pocket on the other side, then there is the front pocket here as well, where you can put a bunch of softer things. There is side pockets that have straps here. There is a side pockets compartments as well, you can see, and you can strap everything on the side. There is loops, so the backpack is complete, has really everything you need. And at that point, it's really a matter of preference what kind of backpack you want to bring with you. But for sure, this one is super comfortable, gives you a little bit of space on the front, on the top as well, and in general is very well customizable. Also, there is a couple of pockets on the padded hip belt there. And then the other thing that I really like, which reminds me a little bit of my camera backpack, that the top part, what they call the cap of the backpack, has two more compartments which are pretty big, and actually a third compartment that opens up to a little backpack. So this thing becomes another little backpack. Can be useful sometimes to have a bag or something to carry things around if something breaks or whatnot. So this is actually a very cool option. So now, just to give you a terms of comparison, I'll put these ones on the side. This is my Lowepro bag. This bag also has, I think, 10 plus years and has been in many countries, in a lot of different places, and has carried a lot of different gear and is still pretty solid. Now some things are starting breaking, like some of these loops are breaking. Nothing structural though. There is a little bit of fraying in some of the sewing, but otherwise it's pretty good. Here I do have my Black Rabbit dual carrying strap, and then if I open this one, I'll show you what's in there. And you can see that this bag fits a lot of gear. So I do have the 400 2.8, 70 200. This is all Nikon Z. I have the 14 to 30 f4 in there. I have the two teleconverters, I have filters, I have my Z8 as well. It doesn't have any more space than that, and is pretty difficult to close at this point. It feels like it's overly loaded, and then you can see that this thing is massive, so the bag definitely is hitting on it a little bit. So it's not ideal to carry the bag, the gear like that. So you can see how much stuff though you can carry in a bag like this, and could be a good option for you if you don't walk a lot with your gear. So I'm trying to say here, you have to know your needs, but once you try an Osprey fully loaded, you definitely will feel the difference compared to a camera backpack. And these backpacks also came with this, which is the same concept as the Osprey. This is a top hat, so you can put this one on the top of the bag, or you can put this on your waist. And I've had this thing for forever, and it's fully loaded with battery stuff, cleaning stuff, mosquito repellent, and everything that you need when you walk. Now, really it's not comfortable to bring these on your waist as you bring your backpack, because you have two things that are sort of overlapping, and so will be true for the Osprey. So that's why you take this and you put it on the top of the bag instead. All right, so this will give you a terms of comparison. If I open the Osprey once again, if I get the straps right, there we go, you have this situation here. Okay, notice that this backpack also opens from the front because it's an older backpack. Newer ones, I think they have changed the opening to the back, but this is what you have in here. But just to give you an idea here, so you can see how it fits. And this is why I want thick padding. I don't want that hard, thin padding that is on the other things. I want the bag to absorb the potential vibrations, or even if I put the bag down, right? You want something that is thick and that's really made to actually withstand the bumps that you inevitably get on the road, right? Even the bottom here is not super thick, but it's better. So I know that when I bring the gear like this, it's gonna be good. All right, now before going to the next bag, I want to show you the difference between the 70 liter and the 85 liter, which is this monster here. Now, if you look at the bag itself, it doesn't seem that much bigger, but it is actually. You can see how tall this is compared to this. It's just a little bit taller. I'm not sure that is wider, but there is a little bit maybe a width extra. So between the 70 and the 85, I probably get the 85 anyway, because it's good to have a little bit of extra space. It doesn't make much of a difference anyway at that point. Once you have a 70 liter bag that you're using for photography purpose, getting an 85 it's just a little bit better. It's marginally heavier anyway. For me this is a no-brainer because this was the used one that I found on Amazon, so probably the 70 is going back anyway. In the 85 I have insert the Nanuk 17 liter. You can see that it fits decently well in there, but the problem is that because this is a cubic, has an opening door, and the door cannot fully open when the insert is in the backpack. This one does not have a removable side lid, and so you're stuck essentially with this cube inside a bag that you cannot access. So unfortunately this is also a no-go. The next one is this Decathlon bag, the Travel 900 Easy Fit 70 liters. Now this is a great bag because I can turn it upside down and actually open it from the bag. If I find where the zipper is, there it is. All right, so I can undo the zipper and open the bag. All right, so the bag opens like a suitcase. So on a field situation, I will put the bag down, open the zipper, and then maybe lean the back part onto myself, and then I have access to the inside here. When you put the divider in there, the space is basically finished. You don't have a lot of space on the top if you want to put another one. You do have some nice division here. You have a pocket, mesh pocket, and this is supposedly a notebook insert, but you can put anything you want in here. And I really like that you can open this one from the back. All these bags, by the way, have a strong frame. So this is another thing that normal bags, normal camera bags don't necessarily have. This one is an aluminum frame, reinforced, and is fully adjustable as well. And this bag, as well as the other Decathlon bag, are coming at just about $200 Canadian. The other one is a little bit more, 230, but this is definitely accessible, and as I said, plenty of warranty for it. So if you don't need more space than this, then this bag is great. Looks pretty slick, nice greenish color, has pockets in the front. I don't know if there is any opening pocket, no, but then you have a big pocket inside. There is a cover, a rain cover as well. You have the top that also works as an extra access, of course, so you can access top and rear. There is pocket on the side for your tripod or whatnot, for the water bottle. So $200, you get yourself a great adjustable, easy bag that doesn't break the bank. You spend another maybe $100 for a medium size Nanuk insert like that, and you are in less than $300 with a decent amount of gear and a great backpack that doesn't destroy your shoulders or your hip. All right, so this is the second option. I really like it. I wish this was just a little bit bigger, because for me it's not enough space. Now the zippers, the buckles here are not nearly as good as the Osprey, but do I think they'll break? No, they won't. This is strong. This is not one of those flimsy bags that you can buy for 20 bucks. Like, this is a strong buckle. It might not be as refined as I said as the other bag, but it's very strong. And plus, I actually like this look a lot better. For me, it's slicker, simpler, maybe more old school. I like the actual texture of it, and even if it's not as high-tech, I think this is a great looking bag. Even this one comes with a top hat that becomes a little backpack as well. These are the shoulder pads of the backpack, and you can put more stuff in there. All right, last bag of the lot. This is a Class MT 900 Symbian 70 plus 10 liters. This is the bag I like the most. I like that it looks rugged. I like the color with the tan and the black gray. Has a couple of features that are not even available in any expensive bag that I've seen. Let's get onto it. Number one feature is that this has a full opening of the bag. As a Velcro here on the top, then you can open the whole bag just like so. You can also open it from the bottom, which is a great feature. So for example, if I have the two cubes, I can access the bottom part for my landscape part of thing, and I can access the top part for my wildlife stuff. And I love this flexibility. This is the kind of stuff that bags should have, flexibility. I also like that in the front of the bag you have molly loop, so you can add more stuff. So simple. Why are these bags without any molly loop? I don't get it. Sure, you can strap things around, but this is a much more solid connection there. Love the materials of this, very thick, very nice. And in general, this is a great looking bag. Now, these are heavier, like the Ospreys are a little bit lighter, but these are heavier because the materials are heavier. It's not that you pay less necessarily because the bag is bad or it's gonna break, but it's more because the materials are not quite as light. But guys, this is very durable material. This bottom part here is strong and solid. There is again the rain cover under here. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is that this bag, which is the only one of the lot that does it, has the compression straps inside the compartment. So when you can see actually the frame there, the frame goes inside and all the way outside. So when you put the gear in there, you put the divider in here, and you see that because the opening is very spacious, I can actually do it in one hand, with one hand, just like that. I have a lot of space in the front to put more, and this one actually opens up as well like this, so you have quite a bit more space. And then I can strap these ones down, and this keeps everything solid in place there. Now if you are worried that this one can scratch your gear or whatnot, maybe you can just use the normal Velcro straps in there if you feel like it. But what I like is that these are actually holding the whole bag in here, the whole divider, and you can see that this becomes pretty tight in there. You can see that there is a big pocket here all the way in the front. This goes all the way down there, so a lot of space. Side pocket, very rugged. Side straps, so tripod is not a problem. This one can be loaded from the top as well, and you can see that I have quite a bit of space before reaching the divider that I have in there, so I can easily put another cube in there. On the side you have water bottle holder, and on the top you still have a full hat that has quite a bit of space. So you can see that the back has fully adjustable shoulders, fully adjustable hip, and in general is very comfortable, well padded. You read the reviews of this thing online and you will understand that this is not a cheaply made bag, and this is gonna last you a long time. There are some imperfections, like some stitching is not as refined, but I don't know if you care about this stuff. I'm just pointing things out because this is $230, which is less than half of the Osprey bag. And now I'm gonna show you my final solutions and the contenders as well. This is the Lowepro BP 650 AW. This backpack has been a big disappointment for me. Comes at 750 something Canadian dollars plus taxes. When I saw this, I thought this would be very big, but this is a tiny bag. It's not very big. Look at this difference. This is the Lowepro, and those are the two backpacks that I was deciding between. This Lowepro bag is not very big. It's also not very wide. I can show you just the inside real quick. This is what I get. Now the problem with this is that to put my lens, my 400-8 in the middle here, I have to remove a full compartment of stuff and basically lose a lot of space. The 400-8 does not fit in between these compartments. This distance here is not good enough to fit a 402.8. And the bag does not come with different sizes of dividers, for example half of this, or like maybe just something that it was wider to accommodate for a wider lens. Now on this side you have all these pockets, which honestly I never used. I don't want to put stuff here that potentially adds pressure to the lens. Inside you can find the top pouch, which is also slightly on the small side, and then you have the waist strap. Now guys, this is $750 backpack, and this is not really nice. It's not enough padding for a backpack that is supposedly loading 10-15 kilograms. It's really not the quality that I was looking for. Like these are the shoulders, are same padding, very spongy but not very supportive in my opinion. I do not know how people that reviewed this bag said that this is a great backpack with this kind of features here. To compare it, this is my old Pro Trekker 400 AW. They also had a 500 and a 600. The 600 was ginormous, was very big. Now if you compare these two bags here, you sure this one has the top hat. This is a little bit longer, but doesn't look like it's as wide. And this is a 400, this is a 650 AW, which in my mind was supposed to be the equivalent of the 600. So this one, in a sense, fits less than this. I had my 400-8 in the middle here with all the other lenses on the side, which is not true of this bag. You can see this is big, fits everything that I had to fit almost, for the most part, just tight. This one is longer for sure, but in terms of width, I think that the older one, which is a 400 again, not a 600, it's actually wider than that, plus the side pockets. Now this bag wasn't cheap at the time, but it seems to me that that was built better. This also had waterproof zippers here, but also the padding here, this seems more supportive than the new one. The new one feels harder, a little bit spongier, but this one seems almost better. Look at this nice padding here. Now, this backpack is not comparable to those backpacks in terms of comfort. It's not close. Those backpacks are made to load a lot of stuff and be comfortable. So I'm not necessarily complaining about the quality of this because it's a little bit two different purposes, although these are backpacks that are supposedly loading a lot of gear. But this one, I am not happy with this. The finish is sloppy. Look at this. You can see here that I can pinch, so the padded divider is not really tight. So here, for example, you can see this is weird material that is harder, and then it can bend, and maybe you have a permanent fold that you don't want. And these dividers are okay, I suppose. These are soft enough and good to the hand, the same as the old one, if not a little bit better. This interior divider here is about the same as well. So overall, the interior, I would say, is okay in terms of paddings, but I do not feel that this bag is 15-20 years newer than this, honestly. This literally came this morning. Took a week to get this backpack. And even the back side is a decent padding again, but it feels hard. Doesn't feel, I think the padding should be nice and soft, comfortable but sturdy, right? Instead, these ones don't feel like that. So all in all, if I had to upgrade from this bag to this bag, I wouldn't do it. And plus, at $650, definitely it's a no-no. I'm questioning how the Shimoda X70 HD would stack against this, or maybe the f-stops, but those are expensive bags. You're talking about $1,000. And I haven't seen, from what I have seen in the dividers, anything remotely as good as what I would like to have. Yeah, these pads are so crappy. I do not like, this seems like foam, but it's flimsy. I do not like this backpack. I doubt that this will be very comfortable. I'm not even gonna load it because I already know it. Like, it does not feel padded enough. It's not. So let me show you, for example, the cheaper 4-class backpack. Look at this padding. This is nice and thick. You can sleep on this. Look at this. Shoulder pads. Okay, shoulder pads are not quite as padded on the front, but the back, they are. Like, this is thick. This is 1.5 inches worth of padding here. Now we'll have to see if this gets worn out, but it's definitely better than that. And when it comes to padding, the Osprey, it's actually also better than that for sure. Shoulders are nice and soft, but padded enough. Doesn't have that spongy feeling, like it's something that you really feel good with, and also has this insert and the transparent here ventilation mesh. So this feels very comfortable, but then this one doesn't have any of those features. My conclusion, camera backpack, useless, not good. This is not good for me when I have to load a lot of stuff. What do we have here left then? We are left with the Osprey and the 4-class. And for me, the winner is the 4-class. When I actually decided, I couldn't believe it. I almost felt like I was doing something wrong, but actually it is the better backpack in my opinion. No, it doesn't have the high-tech materials that the Osprey does have. Maybe it's not built quite to that standard, but overall has more features for me. It's a bigger bag, it fits more stuff, although they are supposedly the same, or actually that should be 5 liters smaller because it has 70 plus 10 versus the Osprey being 85, and is more flexible, and I'll show you that in a second as I load my gear in there. Now we have the divider problems, which I've also solved. So let's get into my solution for the dividers. I have found this one, which is the perfect padded insert. And this one is for the bag 450. So this is supposed to go in the case, the Nanuk case 450. Why I love this? Thick padding, strong padding, great quality. Lots of inserts. Look at this, the amount of stuff that there is here. Lots of inserts that you can organize as you want. As you can see, it's pretty sticky as well. This size comes after trying 4 different ones. There is one that is exactly the same size as the Pelican case, but a little bit shorter, a little bit shallower. That didn't work because I don't want anything shallower than that. The other ones were either too wide or too big, and finally I came up with this one. All right, so if I put the Pelican on top of this, you can see that this is quite a bit wider, but not enough to have a problem in the bag. And then the length is actually the same as the Pelican case. I'll put the price on the video as well in Canadian dollar because it's well built, and also the bottom is very thick. It's nice. This is how the dividers should be Okay, now just to give you an idea, why did I want this specific size? Because my ideal insert is one that allows me to put two bodies next to each other with the lens on. The Pelican was close but not quite wide enough by 1.5 inches. So when I saw this one, I thought that I could make it work. Let me show you here the beauty of this setup here. Put Z9 M400 to 8 TS, Z8 70-100 ZS. Then I have the two teleconverter here that I can put in this other space. And again, I can organize this better. Filters for the 70-100 2.8. Sorry, for the 400 2.8. And then 1430 f4s. Everything fits in here nicely. I open the backpack, I get the camera that I want, ready to go, no waiting, right? So this, everything fits nice in here, great setup. This one, close, but I cannot put a Z8 with the lens on here because you can see it would be very tight in there. I suppose I could force it in, but not my favorite setup. This, I can quickly do that. I'm gonna show you the two backpacks with this insert and the other one that I put on top. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna show you the Osprey Aether Plus 85 and why I've decided not to go for this. Number one, the opening in the front, although it's nice and smooth, when you have stuff inside, opens very smoothly. It's not very wide. Now that we put the divider in there, you'll see. This one opens well, but this part is a little limiting in terms of picking up stuff or stuffing things inside. It's also a little bit tight on the bottom, but it will fit. And then the top is quite tight to put in. Now I suppose if you leave it in there, it won't be too big of a problem, but otherwise it's a little bit of a pain. You can see how this fits in there. You close the zippers. Again, all these flaps that get in the way that really annoy me a lot. And then you can close the compression straps. And then finally you have your backpack ready to go. It is pretty solid. You have the compression straps on the sides as well. And you have some space on the top as well, the top compartment. Now here I can fit my other cubic. And you can see that I am pretty much topped out. Now, because the divider is so big and allows me to put most of my gear, I might not even need the cubic on the top, except that I keep all my landscape photography stuff in there. This is an 85 liter and I am topped out here. I cannot really put much more in here. I could want to put a drone, which is right there in that little bag, black bag, but I won't fit it in here. And I am pretty much relying at this point on the side pockets and the front pocket for further space, as well as the top hat, which does have a fair amount of space. My biggest complaint for this backpack is the opening. It's not my favorite. And then I don't like that there is this opening that is round, limits my access, and also that on the bottom there's quite a bit of room that I cannot access. It's not a big deal, but you can see that this moved. On top of this handle here, to take the handle, I have to push the cover back a little bit more. So not my favorite setup. Now let me show you the 4 class instead. Get the divider. Just put it there. Super simple. Just like that. This bag feels more spacious than the other one by good margin. Also wider as well. Now, as I showed you, I can use the internal straps to secure the gear inside the backpack. You can tighten it, it's not going anywhere. The bottom is bottom out. You can see there is this nice rain cover as well that creates some extra padding, and with the thickness of the Nanuk, it works really well. Wanna close it, zip it down, just like that, done. No flaps around, the backpack is ready. Now look at this though, a lot of space here. Enough space, in fact, that I can put easily my Nanuk Cube and even the drone on top of that, or a jacket, or a change of clothes, or whatever I want. So this thing, it's actually really, really spacious. Spacious in a way that makes sense. Has a nice zipper inside here too. You can put your keys or other things that you don't want to have visible. And this is the bag closed. And what is more important, extremely comfortable to bring around with a strong frame and a great padding everywhere. Okay, this was a long video. If you got all the way here, kudos to you. It means that you are really trying to solve the same problem I was. And I really hope that that was helpful, because it took me a long time to put all of this together. As you can see, sometimes you have to try many things to get to the right solution. The right solution might not be the most expensive one, might not be the one you think is the most common or that makes sense, and so it's always better to give it a try. I hope you can get some value out of this video. If you liked it, like it, leave me a comment down below, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.